landscape. So we are joined now by Death Metal Mom. What's up, girl?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you again for joining me today. I just wanted to kind of have a conversation about the crazy shit that's happening in our industry. Even though I'm a former music publicist, I still am very much connected to the heavy metal industry. I also now, taking this leap into being a full-time performer. So I'm doing, once I was doing press for other people, now I'm doing it for myself. So I'm just, really baffled by what's going on. And I would
Yeah.
love to just talk to somebody that's in the stuff right now and just kind of see what kind of advice we can give to up and coming publicists and bands who also need press coverage. So, welcome again. I'm just going to do a little introduction of you and talk about how great you are for a second. So,
Okay.
Faye Scott Dench is widely known in the extreme metal underground community as Death Metal Mom. She currently runs the Heavy Metal podcast and handles PR at Redefining Darkness Records. Thank you again for joining us, Faye.
Thank you so much. It's
Absolutely.
Sunday. And
Cool.
can I just say congratulations on the single you just released?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, I'm excited.
And and the book you've just written.
Yes, thank you. I'd be doing it all out here.
You're one of the busiest people I know, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. And congratulations to you as well on all of your success. Your podcast is awesome. So I'm
Thank
really
you.
glad that you brought it back. Sure. So as I was talking about, we have been seeing all kinds of articles coming out about these sweeping layoffs in the United States heavy metal and hard rock and alternative music media
Mhm.
landscape. Brooklyn Vegan, Revolver, Alternative Press, Goldmine all got hit by massive layoffs last week, like 2 weeks ago. Something like that earlier this month. And then just before that, we had another big round of layoffs at um, oh my gosh, Metal Sucks and Blast Beat
Yeah.
Network and Metal Injection. And so the landscape is changing very
Yeah.
quickly for bands and for publicists. And as a current heavy metal publicist, I wanted to just talk to you and get, your opinion on what is happening in the United States media landscape and how that is affecting bands in the European markets as well, because I know
Mhm.
they also want coverage from the Revolvers and those kinds of magazines. So
Yeah.
what does this really mean for these bands? Have you been getting more emails and questions? Tell us what's going on.
I mean, first of all, I just want to reassure bands that it's not the end of the world. It's scary, 100%. I mean, we're losing people, we're losing their expertise, we're losing the relationships people have built with these journalists over a long time. Um, yeah, and it's sad to see because I mean, you probably know a lot of journalists as well that have been laid off. I know a lot of them,
Yeah.
extremely talented, passionate people who have just dedicated their lives sometimes for just for free. Do you know what I mean? They're doing it with, they're not even getting money for it, and they really have little to show for it. And I think it's really sad, the whole situation. Um, we live at the moment. We're in this part of in time where it's never been easier to release music, but it's never been harder to get noticed.
Exactly.
Um, and cutting through all that noise and then social media, it gets harder every day,
Yeah.
which is why you know all these layoffs it's so brutal because these journalists they've been like cheerleaders of these bands, and it's going to hit the underground. My niche is underground metal, and
Mhm.
it's going to hit the underground a lot because they really rely on these sort of word of mouth, like these journalists publishing reviews,
Mhm.
and I have had a few of my bands like, dude, what do we do? Like, how are we going to like tackle this? How are we going to change our sort of plan about, I've got some upcoming releases I'm working on. We've had to shift a few things,
Mhm.
but like I said, I want to give people a sense of hope
Right.
and a sense of no matter how you feel personally about the situation, PR is evolving, and we're just going to have to follow it. If you want to be a part of it, that's just the way it's going to be. Um, no matter what your personal I have opinions about it. Trust me, I have opinions, but we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about the business, right? So yeah, I just I want to just reassure people that it's going to be okay.
Yes. And do you feel like bands, especially US bands in the scene should
Mm.
now try even harder to build those relationships with the more European media outlets, the Kerangs of the world, etc. Mhm. And what
I
to really, try to foster those relationships? How do they, contact someone like you to help them with their campaigns?
I would say what they can do is target smaller sort of niche sort of outlets, PR people, blogs, content creators, YouTubers, that kind of stuff, because one well targeted YouTube video is going to do so much more for you than sending your album to 1,000 people,
Yeah.
who
Yes.
would just have full inboxes and they might not even see it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You
Exactly.
have to, I think now PR is evolving, and not just for US bands, but European bands too.
Mhm.
You really have to condense it down and really sort of target who you're sending your music to. Because, like, 20 years ago, you could just send out an email list to 5,000 people, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and it would be published somewhere. You get a lot of reviews, you get some magazines, you might get like some radio stuff. Do you know what I mean? But now everything is digital, things are moving on to social media, and whether you like it or not, you kind of have to do that. Um, so I
And do
think
you feel
bands
like
now,
it's more important to kind of come at it from a more social media marketing and content angle rather than going for actual like album review style coverage, premiere style coverage, or do you think there's still value in having a mix of both?
I think there's a value in having a mix, because journalism and uh, sort of influencer culture are two very different things. They
Yeah.
should be able to complement each other. They provide different roles in PR, um, both important, both very different. But also, to get a full scope of PR, I think you definitely need to embrace both of those things.
Uh,
Um, you know, but what I think is important bands need to remember is doesn't make reviews isn't PR.
Correct.
Reviews are a part of that, sure,
Right. Right.
but you can't judge the success of a PR campaign on how many reviews you've been published or how many blog articles have been written about your band. That isn't a measure of the success of your PR.
And can you talk a little bit about what does count as like, your measurements of success? Because a lot of people do question, like, okay, if I'm hiring a publicist, what am I actually paying for? What things we can't guarantee specific types of press coverage, right? But there are
No.
certain things that we can expect. So when you are working with a band, what kind of expectations do you give them up front so that they know, okay, this is the role of the publicist. This is a long game. This might take 6 weeks or 8 weeks, for my single to actually start getting real traction. And that looks like X, Y, and Z. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So obviously we want to give them realistic expectations. As you said, I as a publicist can't guarantee anything.
Hmm.
And that's important to remember, because, you know, there are so many variables that are out of my control and out of the band's control.
Right.
What they can expect from PR and what they're paying for is our contacts, it's our network, it's our knowledge of the specific market you're aiming at, it's the business we've built up, the people we know. It's all about, especially the underground scene, it's all about word of mouth, like who knows who, um, just the reputations you build up with people, the relationships, also with the journalists, it's so important. So I think what bands can expect from PR, and what I say to them is, we'll set out a physical plan and be like, right, you know, this kind of social media post will result in this kind of reaction, hopefully.
Mhm.
And then, depending on the band, obviously, some
Right.
bands are better at that kind of stuff than others.
Right.
But just judge your PR campaigns not on the amount of reviews or the amount of followers you get necessarily, but also sort of the relationships you build up, the momentum you can see. Obviously, sales
Hmm.
count, obviously, but the numbers are important, obviously.
Hmm.
But especially in the underground scene, we're all humans, and that you really have to like dig into that human element of, right, I know this person, I know this YouTuber, I know this, but it's so we are like a little family, and we really have to dig down into that now. And our job as publicists in this scene is to, it's a bit like being a mum. It's like we're guiding you, we're showing you, we're pointing in the right direction. We're sort of, we're pushing you to the right places. We're telling you, don't do that. You're paying for our guidance, our knowledge, our context.
Yeah.
Because anyone can put a song on YouTube, anyone can put a song on Spotify, and it's like dropping a drop of water into the ocean.
Exactly.
You might get lucky and someone will notice it, but you need to really target stuff now, especially all these layoffs. It's just condensing the whole thing even more.
Exactly.
And I think that's what our job is. And that's what I think PR is going to be really good for smaller bands now.
Totally agree. And I think, like you said, like with all these layoffs happening, the relationships that your publicists have are worth their weight in gold, because even when, some of the layoffs occur, that publicist may still have relationships with that publication. It might not have been that specific writer, or maybe it was, but that will also help you to still stay in contact with that publication, to still be able to get features, or they might know, what's coming ahead before you know. So that is paramount to your success as a band, is to have somebody that is already connected, that can champion your music and get you through the door, even when there's crazy layoffs going on. One of the other pieces of advice that I also like to give to bands is work alongside with your publicist. Make the publicist's job as easy as it can be. You have to have a compelling story to tell. It's great that you are making music, but what is the unique selling point about your music? What is that story that people are going to care about, that is about you? They're not just buying the music, they're buying you. So the more story you can give your publicist to work with, the more results you will see. And I wrote a book called PR Shark Tips. Thank you for that shout out about it earlier. In this book, I offer advice to not only bands, but to also people who are wanting to do PR themselves as a publicist, or if you are a musician or a band and you just want to get some extra PR, or you want to, make the campaign that you've hired someone for even better. Use my book, get these tips, because this is coming directly from publicists who have been working 10, 20, 30 years in the business. Death Metal Bum, you have contributed to the book. I have other publicists. Amy Soretto from Adam Splitter PR has contributed to the book. Jamie Roberts from For the Win Media. So we have all kinds of amazing, badass publicists that are dropping straight gems in this book. It is available now on Amazon. I will also drop the link in my bio. Thank you again. And please let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, and any last words of advice that you might have.
How they can get in touch with me? I mean, my DMs are open for normal, wonderful human beings, creepy, professional, normal people who want to talk about music or send me pictures of their cats. I'm cool with that too. Death Metal Mum, hit me up in my DMs. And like I said, I just want to leave on a message saying that there is hope, and there are people like me out here to help you. So please get in touch. It's literally our job, and
yes,
I'm very passionate about the scene, and I love seeing bands succeed. So hit us up. We're here to help. Everything is going to be okay.
Right now, flood those DMs with professional, appropriate inquiries only, please. She is here to help your band succeed. Thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Thank you.